Hi, welcome to Storm the Field. I am Mathis. I'm joined here by Quentin, Rob, and Trey. And this is going to be our preview of, what is it, week 9 now? That is just,
Yep.
that's crazy to me, guys. And so we're going to have our predictions and previews for count it, four big time games. And then after that, we're going to give some upsets to watch out for. And so just get straight into it and go ahead and start us off with Ohio State at Penn State. Ohio State is a 15.5 point favorite. And the over under for this is 61 points. And so, Quentin, we're going to go ahead and get you talking early. So you start us off.
I gotta. Actually, I don't know. I saw a stat earlier that was like Penn State. The last time they got blown out by Michigan, it was by like I don't even. The last time they got blown out by Michigan at Michigan, they went on to win the Big Ten and they went on to beat Ohio State like 2 weeks later. But history will not repeat itself. I think I'm gonna have to pick Ohio State here. That offense is scary good. Probably the best in the country, pretty easily.
All right, Trey.
Like what Quentin said, Ohio State is probably one of the untouchable teams in college football right now, along with Michigan, who they play later in the year, and Georgia, and who else? Tennessee right now. I just feel like those are the four best teams, and obviously the AP polls agrees with us. But I have Ohio State beating Penn State in Happy Valley. I mean, Ohio State's got a great offense, and what happened, 2 weeks ago now, where Michigan played Penn State and they got blown out by 30 points? It shows me that Penn State's defense isn't as good as it has been in the past. So I'm going to have to go with Ohio State this week.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but it seems like Ohio State hasn't played in a month. And maybe it's because they're coming off a bye last week or 2 weeks ago. But they haven't. First off, I'm going with Ohio State. But they haven't been
You always
tested.
copy me. You always
What?
copy me.
What?
Rob, you are a copycat.
You always copy me. You literally copy me every single time.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say Ohio State has not been tested this year, not since they beat number 5 Notre Dame in opening week. So I'm just looking at their schedule right now. They beat Arkansas State, Toledo, Wisconsin, Rutgers, Michigan State, Iowa. Tell me which one of those teams would finish in the middle of the pack in any other conference. I mean, Ohio State is without a doubt one of the better teams in the nation, if not the best, but they have not proved it on the field yet. You know, they've killed everybody, but they have not beaten a tough opponent. And Notre Dame, they beat them by 7, and Notre Dame played great, but they just have not been tested, and this game could sneak up on them. I don't expect it to, but it is on the road. I'm not gonna call this as an upset alert, but this could be an upset watch.
Yeah. I definitely have Ohio State in this game. Don't get it twisted. But this is the first time Ohio State has been challenged really in the last 6 weeks, maybe. And so if I'm Penn State, obviously, first and foremost, your goal is to win the game. But secondary goal, if I'm James Franklin, is to keep Ohio State's starters in the game the whole time. You just be a nagging, annoying little pest. And I don't think they're going to win this game. I think they're outmatched. I think they're going to get outcoached. But I don't think Ohio State is going to cover. I think that playing a competent defense will actually limit their offense to some degree. I still have them scoring 7 touchdowns, and so you can, or I guess 5, but yeah, 7 would be a lot. I think they're gonna play really well. I just think Penn State's gonna give a better effort at home than they did a few weeks ago against Michigan. And then yeah, that's all we really have for that one. And for some of these games, this next one, I have a feeling. I mean, high point spreads. It's not really interesting to anyone to hear us say, "Well, yeah." And by the way, we're moving on to Florida, Georgia. Just for for y'all, I know you can't see the screen here.
Just such a big rivalry.
Yeah, I know, but no one wants to hear us say, "Oh, well, tell me why Georgia's going to win when they're a 22-point favorite." And so,
Yeah,
At home.
yeah, or no,
it's
it's
a
always a
neutral
neutral
site.
site, Rob.
They play in Jacksonville.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
Yeah, they play in Jacksonville.
So what I want to
Huh.
do here is I want you to I want you to talk about the game and tell me what you think. But I also want you to give me a little bit of what Florida can do to keep it close or even get the upset outright. And so Rob will go back, we'll circle around
Well,
other way.
Florida's had a tough schedule. They played a lot of ranked teams. They played Tennessee, Kentucky, Utah. Um, honestly, I'm gonna look here real quick, but I can't really think. I think Georgia's kind of in a similar situation that Ohio State is, and that's they just haven't really played anybody yet. Um, they okay, Oregon, but like Ohio State, that was in week one. Georgia by all rights should destroy Florida, but Florida by far is going to be the biggest competition they've had to date if you discount the Oregon game, which was week one. So, I mean, anything can happen, especially in the SEC, especially in a rivalry game. And if it's truly at a neutral site, which I mean, it is in Florida, so you might have a little more Florida fans. Um, you know, I don't think this is necessarily going to be won because of strategy or, coaching or whatever. It's going to be won by the players on the field, and it's just going to have to be won with heart, you know. Florida is definitely outclassed, but, these guys, a lot of them probably played high school with each other, and they know each other. And it's a deep rooted rivalry between these two teams.
Yeah.
I can definitely tell you this. I do not think the spread will be covered.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
That's too much.
All right, Trey.
I mean, I agree with everything that Rob says. Georgia just hasn't been tested this year, and instead of just reiterating what he says, what I think Florida needs to do this week to win this ball game is keep your offense on the field as long as you possibly can. Because if you take away Georgia's offense and keep their defense on the field, the defense can continuously get tired, and that's when teams make mistakes. And they're gonna in games like this, you're gonna have to win off of fluky situations where somebody may muff a punt or somebody might fumble on the 40-yard line and you pick it up and scoop and score. Stuff like that is just gonna have to happen this week for Florida to win. Also with their quarterback playing like he did week one. I mean, you just have to have a combination and have everything happen the right way for Florida to win this week.
Good.
Yeah, I agree. I think the offense just needs the Florida offense just needs to play like they did in that Utah game. I think Anthony Richardson just needs to pretty much go off, will them to a victory. But I don't know that he's going to be able to do that with that Georgia defense and also very good Georgia offense, averaging like 41 points a game or something. But I don't know if the win is possible, but I feel like those are the things that they're going to need to do to win.
I actually have a little bit of a different perspective here. I think this game's going to be really close. I got it. I have Georgia winning by a touchdown. And I think that I'm saying that in the way kind of my gut feeling is it does not have anything to do with Florida. And spoiler alert, this next game we're talking about has nothing to do with the next team I'm talking about. But I think this game is going to be close because first off, Georgia hasn't really had a whole lot of separation since week one. I mean, you guess you have Auburn, but do we even really count them as a conference opponent at this point? I think, especially what I saw against Missouri, it being in a neutral site, you don't really you're not at home, you don't have that comfort. If Florida can make Stetson Bennett uncomfortable, I think this is going to be a great game. I think that Florida isn't necessarily going to get Georgia's best shot because guess who they play next week?
Tennessee.
They play Tennessee next week. And so
Yep.
you can think, okay, we're just going to look ahead. And even coaches, they might not want to put a whole lot offensively on film for Tennessee next week because they haven't really had to put a whole lot on film. And so do they think they're going to be able to go in there and run their base offense and just take care of the game? Because I'm not sure if their offense is good enough to just go in there against a Florida defense and just have their offense win the game for them. I think their defense is going to play well, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to stop the running game when it comes to the straight up running attack, but then also Anthony Richardson can make plays happen with his legs. Because this right now is the game that Florida is going to be playing for.
Yeah.
This is their what they're looking at.
I was going to say, Mathis, you had a great point on Georgia looking ahead to Tennessee. I can't remember in recent years where by this time in the season it's already a lock for Georgia, and they literally have to go out in the field next week and win to make it to the SEC championship. And they could be looking past Florida, and that'd be a big advantage for Florida. This game is a lot bigger for Florida than it is for Georgia. Next week's game is everything. Georgia can lose this week. Tennessee can lose this week. It's going to come down to next week. Whoever wins that game is going to the SEC championship.
Yeah, I think Tennessee. I guess so. I was gonna say they, for some reason, for a second in my head, I thought they lost to Alabama, but they're still undefeated, so they could get one loss and still make the playoff. Because I was gonna say that Tennessee, they need this for the playoff, but they don't.
Playoffs,
they really don't.
Definitely. But I think right now, especially for Tennessee, Tennessee's looking for making the SEC championship. They'd love to make the playoffs, but it's a win for them if they make the SEC championship.
Yeah, you got to go through Georgia first.
They got to go to the playoffs for it to be a successful season.
Yeah, and as we, I think that's a great segue point to our next game because I feel the exact same way about this game as I did last. I think Tennessee is they could be in full look-ahead mode.
Yeah.
But even saying that, I'm just going to go straight into my prediction. I think Tennessee wins this game a little more comfortably than Georgia wins, just because I think it's a bad matchup for Kentucky. Because against this Tennessee team, you really want to be able to run the ball well and keep their offense off the field. And Kentucky is not a great running team. And so I think Tennessee wins by closer to 2 scores. Plus they're at home. They're not going.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. But I still think there's that definite look ahead mentality here, especially because they're the ones chasing Georgia.
Yeah. I don't know who you want. I'll go ahead and go, but yeah, I'm definitely going with Tennessee. They're playing at home. I'd hope they wouldn't look past this, but again, I don't know how Georgia's able to work this out, but Tennessee has played Pitt, Florida, LSU, Alabama, Kentucky. They'll have played 5 ranked teams before they even played Georgia. Georgia's only played 1, and that was in week 1. So, you could make the case, and I'm jumping ahead, but Tennessee, I think Tennessee can look ahead for the Georgia game as just like Georgia can, but I think Tennessee has been in a mode this year where they haven't been able to look ahead because they've had stiff competition pretty much every week. So I would hope that Tennessee has matured enough knowing that Kentucky's not going to be a pushover. They are a big favorite. They probably will win by 10 or more, but uh, I just kind of feel like this is Tennessee's year. I think they're going to keep enough in front of them to not look past Kentucky. And where is that Kentucky Tennessee game or
Tennessee. It's
Georgia
at Tennessee. Oh, it's at Georgia this year.
Georgia? Okay. So I mean, this is a big game for Tennessee. It's one of their last home games. It's against a very good opponent. But I think they do know at the same time if they lose, they're allowed to lose. They can, sure, they probably won't make the playoffs, but they still can make the SEC championship, and all they have to do is beat Georgia.
Yeah.
And just like Ohio State, Tennessee is going to be playing a team next week who hasn't been tested, and Tennessee is going to be a big test for Georgia.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like that. If I were Tennessee right now, I'm taking it 1 week by a time because you still have to beat Kentucky to get to next week, or you still have to play Kentucky to get to next week. But I mean, this game, like y'all said, is not as detrimental as next week is. But I feel like this is still an important week for Tennessee to win, just to keep them in the driver's seat for that SEC East bid into the SEC championship game. And this is also big for the college football playoff implications. Beating, it would look so much better if they beat Kentucky and lost to Georgia than if they had beat or lost to Kentucky and beat Georgia just based off of rankings.
Yeah.
And I feel like this game is more important for college football playoff implications than anything else. But like I said, I mean, like y'all said, Tennessee's offense is just playing great this year. Kentucky's defense isn't as good as people thought it was, so I feel like it's going to be a pretty easy game for Tennessee to win by probably 2 scores. I'm going to have to go with them winning by 10 points.
I think if a second SEC team makes the playoffs, the selection committee could be a little forgiving if Tennessee loses by a little amount to Georgia. If they lose to Kentucky, they're out.
Oh yeah. And Georgia has to beat Alabama for sure in the SEC championship game for Tennessee to get in.
Yeah, because I don't think you're getting 3 just based off of principle.
Oh no.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're not gonna get the best thing for Georgia to make it by going the route not through the SEC championship is if Georgia wins the SEC championship, which would give Alabama a second loss.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee would be sitting with 1, and that loss to Georgia has to be close. I think that's the only way they get in as the second SEC team.
Yeah.
They're in if they beat Georgia, and they might get in even if they lose the SEC championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But,
and one thing I'd like to add, I know you haven't said anything yet, but the difference between I think this and the Georgia game is from a coaching standpoint. I think if you're Georgia, you have less offensive firepower than Tennessee does. And so I think you're a little more concerned about what you're putting on tape the week before. Tennessee's played so many ranked matchups, like what you said, Rob, and good teams that, I mean, they've played Alabama. They have already thrown their biggest punch. We know everything. Their whole playbook's on film already. They're not. They don't get the. I don't know if you want to say luxury of hiding things and holding plays off until the end of the year.
Yeah.
So, but I also think that it kind of takes that crutch away where you or handcuffs or whatever you want to call it. This is the Tennessee offense of the rest of the year.
That could lead into Tennessee's favor in winning this Kentucky game because they're not holding back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that they don't have any. The horses are out of the barn already. Like they're not. Everything
Georgia has
seen,
to be smarter because I mean they still have a route to make the SEC championship if they beat Tennessee, but they have to do it smart. They can't they can't show their hand like Tennessee can or already has.
Yeah. Quentin, you want to go ahead? And I know you haven't talked.
Yeah, I mean, I think that last week Tennessee was just kind of trying to survive. I think that UT Martin had like 24 or like 55 to 24. I think that the score that UT Martin.
They only beat them by 41.
Well, yeah, but like
Can't believe it.
I think that them playing UT Martin last week helped them so much because of that Bama. Like they got to come back down to earth before they played Kentucky and Georgia. So I'm also going to take Tennessee just because I think that their offense is way too good for me to pick against them right now. I'm not even going to try to do that. So I will also take Tennessee because I just think that they're the better team. Kentucky has not impressed me at all this year. They've lost every game that I've pretty much thought they were supposed to lose.
Hey, and I don't know if this is a fact, and I'm going to kind of brag on Tennessee, but I'm looking at the box score against UT Martin, and I don't know when Tennessee pulled their players, but with 3 minutes left in the third quarter, they were winning 58-7.
Yeah.
And so UT Martin scored 2 touchdowns, a field goal, and they very well may have done it with Tennessee's backup defense on the field.
It wasn't close.
You know. Yeah.
Okay, well, are y'all ready? We're headed to the Late Kick Tour. The Every Given Saturday Tour is headed to the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, not New York, and Oklahoma State is coming to town after a big win over the Longhorns at home. I think quarterback play is going to be a huge factor here because it seems like Spencer Sanders' shoulder, it wasn't really an issue last week. I think that and it's been almost a month since that Tech game because it happened. So I think he's good to go. And the issue that I really think comes up in this game is Adrian Martinez. Granted, don't hold me to this just because I'm not an expert, but I don't think he's gonna play here because from everything I've heard, he's questionable to unlikely. I think he's very limited in practice, and they still haven't even disclosed what the injury is from what I understand. So I would not expect him to play in this game. But also the line's Kansas State's favored by 1.5 points.
Yeah.
And so maybe I'm wrong on that, but I'm taking Oklahoma State here. I just don't see a way where you can have. He's going to be injured whether he plays or not. I don't see how Adrian Martinez is going to be able to come in with an injury that kept him out the whole TCU game essentially, and come in and beat Oklahoma State, who's looking better and better every week that they've played, for maybe the exception of the second half of that TCU game is really the only time that they've looked like the worst team on the field when they've played. And so give me Oklahoma State, and I guess that means outright because I'm not taking them to lose by 1 point here. So I'm taking Oklahoma State outright, and the Pokes continue their run and their death march towards the Big 12 championship rematch against TCU.
Such a weird championship game.
What about your points? Or are we going to do that?
Oh yeah. This is our tiebreaker game for anyone who didn't know, like me, who forgot. I have a rough estimate of a score prediction for every single game that we talk about here, and so I kind of crunched the numbers in my head. And it's kind of not really an exact science, but give me Oklahoma State 31, Kansas State 27. So I got them winning by 4 here. I just think that Kansas State's offense, like they did last week, is going to be able to play well in the first half. But I think Oklahoma State's going to hold them to some field goals here.
For a total of 58, right?
58 points. Good math, Rob.
Okay.
And then someone else take it away.
To go?
Yeah.
I'll go next. And because the Adrian Martinez thing is not for sure, I reserve the right to change my pick and my total points.
Okay.
But Kansas State first off, the loser of this game is out. They both lost to TCU, and then the loser will have lost to the winner of this game, and that's just probably too much. I mean, theoretically, yes, they can still win, but theoretically, they're going to be having to overcome the two teams they lost, so they have to not only they have to beat them by a game. So I think the loser of this game is probably out. Um, I really like Oklahoma State, but this is just kind of one of those deals where my gut is just telling me K-State's going to win. Howard played good. Is Oklahoma State going to play Howard the way TCU played him in the first half or the second half? And what exactly did
Maybe
TCU
both.
do in the change? Maybe both, but I'm certainly not. I'm an expert at watching football, but I'm not an expert at analyzing and knowing. I couldn't tell you right now what TCU did differently in the second half that they did in the first half that caused Kansas State to I think not score at all or maybe 3 points in the second half.
They rushed the quarterback more. They put him under pressure. They stopped sending three.
Okay, so my gut is telling me they both teams have their back against the wall. They're playing at Kansas State. I'm going to assume for now Adrian Martinez is going to play. Howard is a pretty good backup, and I don't know what Oklahoma State's backup it is, but if something were to happen to Oklahoma State, would they just completely fall apart? I think the trend in the Big 12 has been offense. They're beating. I don't know the stats, but they're beating the over under. It seems like to me, not
Every
just
single
beating
game.
it, but beating it high. With that, I have a total of 76 points.
Wow.
I have Kansas State winning 42 to 34.
All right. Quentin or Trey?
How many points did you say? 66?
He said 76.
What was your score?
42 for Kansas State.
Oh, 30. Okay. I thought you said 34.
So I got Oklahoma State scoring 3 more than Mathis, but I got K-State, I think, scoring two more touchdowns than he's got.
I just
so
don't
right
see
now,
it.
we got a wide disparity in the points, 56 to 76.
All right.
So there's 20 points for you guys to split amongst yourselves.
Yeah, I'll take the under. I guess I'm over under is 56, so I'm still over. I don't think.
Yeah,
you're
at 58, I think.
Probably the lowest score out of all of us is still going to be the over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, both teams are pretty good on the offensive side of the ball. Both teams can put up points, and neither team likes stopping the other team, it seems like. So I feel like this is going to be a shootout this week, but Oklahoma State, I think, is just a better team. I mean, they've proved to be the better team in almost every game that they've played this year. Like what Mathis said, with the exception of TCU in that second half, I believe if
and most of the Texas game. Just saying.
Oh yeah, but I mean, ultimately, who won that game? So I mean, the better team had to win that day.
Texas lost that. Just saying.
So they're the better team that day, but still, Spencer Sanders coming off that injury against TCU, I think that really kind of shocked Oklahoma State. And I mean, they were up by 20 points in the first half, and I think he was just running off of pure adrenaline. And once he got into that second half, it really started to sink in that he was hurt, and that really hurt Oklahoma State's chances of winning that TCU game. But I think he's like Mathis said, a month off of that injury. I think he's fine now. I think he's going to come into this game and play pretty well. So I have Oklahoma State winning this week 42 to 31. So I have my points set at 73.
Quentin?
Like Rob said, this is probably the most important game in terms of Big 12 conference considerations, because the loser is out basically, and then the winner can then beat Texas, and then Texas will then also be out. Well, if Oklahoma State wins, I think Texas is out, right?
No,
would that be right?
Not technically, but they'll have
Kansas State.
They'll have the head-to-head.
They have to beat TCU and Kansas State. They have to win out pretty much.
Yeah.
And Texas could beat TCU, which helps them obviously in the head-to-head. But
And TCU could drop another game somehow, just because of how the Big 12 is.
So
Texas is not going to the Big
Texas
12
would have to win
championship in
out.
all likelihood.
Texas would have to win out and have one conference loss.
They have two.
TCU would have to.
They have two.
Texas has
Texas
two.
has two.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. I meant two. And then TCU has to drop the Texas game, and then another game. Then Texas has the head-to-head, and they're in with. Actually, I don't know. Because Oklahoma, I don't know. It's really complicated. I think
it gets down to overall record and points, but yeah, I think this is realistically Oklahoma State to lose. Just this game and making the conference championship, both. I think both of them are Oklahoma State's to lose. But I've been wrong before, so.
So right now, Trey and Mathis have both gone for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, yes. Quentin, who do you have here? Just to get that out of the way.
You haven't announced it.
I have Oklahoma State.
All right, I'm going Kansas State, guys.
What?
You're
not changing your pick?
Rob, I'm not letting you on an island here.
Why? Just because I have a 66% win rate for when I'm on an island?
Yeah, that's why.
So you're going to go against everything you just said in why Oklahoma State should win this game.
Well, this is accounting for Adrian Martinez not playing, and so I can spin it that way if you want. Quentin, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, you're going Oklahoma State. So if Adrian Martinez plays, then I could see you changing your vote. But you're just changing your vote to block me out.
Sometimes that's what you got to do, Rob.
All right, and my final score is 24-38 with a total of 62.
Ooh, you just pinched Trey. You got 72 points. He's got 73 and I got 76, so he can only win at 73.
I can drop my points if I need to. I can drop or go higher. I can go change it in the app.
Rob, he said 62.
Rob.
Well, what was your score again?
62.
38-24.
Oh, okay, 62. Okay. So you just bought yourself an extra 5 points there, Trey.
Yes.
Well, pretty much
it works.
All right, guys.
Pretty much I boxed out Mathis, basically.
No, if that under hits, then I win, son.
He's got. Yeah.
Well, then I might go under Mathis just to make it.
The only way you box Mathis out is if you went 57.
And if you do that, then I have everything from there until like what would it be, 68?
Well, I mean, you were at 58, and Trey's at 72, so that's 14-7, 65.
Well, if Martinez plays, if Martinez plays, I'm definitely bumping my score. That's my score based on if he doesn't play. But if he plays, I'm definitely bumping it. It would probably be closer to.
Oh no!
Yeah, I think 2 to 4 of us are going to be changing our points or picks Friday night.
I can see myself also changing the pick.
There's going to be some game theory, and we're going to go ahead. We're going on to my favorite segment of the week. We got a little upset alert, and I sniped it last week. I ended up changing my pick from West Virginia to Texas Tech, and it was just a Red Raider rout last week. So technically I was on the record saying that West Virginia was going to win that game outright. I didn't pick it at the end of the day. And so really the game I'm talking about here is, Rob, I picked your Aggies to be on upset watch against South Carolina. And I was right on the money with that one. And so
last week was South Carolina.
Yeah, and so that was it last week. And so since I felt like that was a pretty good snipe there, I'm taking my upset, and once again, I'm picking against the Red Raiders. This time I might keep the pick. I'm taking Baylor over Texas Tech. And
that's a upset alert.
Yeah. Tech is favored, I think, by 1.5 or something.
More power to them.
That's not a major upset when it's that close.
I know. There's so many games that just have really, really tight spreads this week.
There are.
And so...
yeah, Mathis is really... he's pretty much just shot a dead horse. He sniped a dead horse from like 4 feet away.
Yeah. This week I'm not
No,
going out on
it
a limb
was
as much.
what's it called? What's that word I'm trying to say? Point blank range.
Yep, fish in a barrel.
Yup.
All right. Someone else go.
I've got 8 upsets this week according to Vegas odds. One of them y'all have already heard, and that's Kansas State. So
Kansas State is favored,
I'm
Rob.
gonna give you all my biggest upset.
Those
Based
are
on
Oklahoma State's favored.
No, they're not.
Huh?
Yes, they are. I just checked. Oklahoma State's favored.
Unless the line moved within the last 30 minutes.
Oklahoma's favored by 1.5.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, it just changed.
Oh, or maybe you just read it wrong.
My
because
lines are based on last night. So I had K-State. Yeah. Oh, you know what?
Oklahoma State is the dog. Kansas State's favored by 1.5.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh no!
And
I'm so surprised.
That's not on my upset alert. Here's my upset alert. I've got 2 fairly big upsets, and these are games that we don't really care about. But I have
we care about all of their games.
Northwestern beating Iowa. They're 11.5-point dogs. And just because I still have the mic, I'll go ahead and tell you my other one, and that's Nebraska beating number 17 Illinois.
Are you picking both those?
Yep.
I have the Nebraska one. I can't remember what I have for the Northwestern.
Northwestern and
yeah, I can't remember. Let me check.
Yeah, I have Northwestern beating Iowa, and I have Nebraska beating Illinois.
All right, someone else go.
I got Arkansas upsetting Auburn this week at Auburn. I mean, it's pretty standard. And then I have Pittsburgh on upset watch against North Carolina this week.
I have them winning that game outright.
Did y'all know that Cincinnati is a dog at UCF?
Against Tulane?
Cincinnati's a dog against UCF.
Who?
Sorry, Arkansas.
Cincinnati. Rob, I have
just
Northwestern.
win. I just checked it. They weren't.
I have Iowa.
I'm literally
favorite.
I know. So now I'm going to have to change my pick. I guess I go Pitt, North Carolina this week as my upset alert.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
My upset alert. Rob, you're about to get really happy.
Florida. Quentin told me earlier he wanted me to announce his upset. He's got Florida beating Georgia.
Rob, you're about to get really happy.
Quentin, you should actually just agree with that, because if it happens, then you...
A&M over Ole Miss.
Nerm.
A&M has not played at home in over a month.
Rock Chalk Aggies
will be back. Kyle Field will be 150,000 or whatever it holds nowadays.
Let me tell you 2 things. I have A&M beating Ole Miss, and I really struggled on it. It's a 2-point. A&M is a 2-point underdog. I did not even list that as an upset alert because I don't consider it to be an upset. But I'll say this: better get your popcorn ready.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, you got to get quarterback in there, or maybe you need some offensive linemen to get uninjured or unsuspended or something. Y'all got some problems going on over there right now.
Yeah, they do.
2 of those kids. Oh my God! One of them is the same kid from the last suspension. What'd they do? Idiot.
Who is
They did something in the locker room. Chris Marshall.
Is it Stewart?
2 kids I know.
No.
Chris Marshall, Evan Stewart. I thought it was Evan Stewart.
Evan Stewart's not one.
No.
It's 3 freshmen.
No, it's not
It's 3
Evan
freshmen.
Stewart.
It's not Stewart.
They were smoking marijuana in the locker room.
Rob, we can't say that on live TV. But yes. Yes, they were.
Isn't TV, idiot.
Yeah, same thing.
He's an idiot. All these 2 dudes are idiots.
This thing is a little TV. But, yeah, plus we're not live. It was a joke, obviously, for me saying that. But, yeah, it was at the South Carolina locker room.
Oh, maybe that's why we're not getting any,
Denver Harris, Chris Marshall, and P.J. Williams.
Maybe that's why we're not getting any, text messages or Twitter feeds from our fans because we're not live.
Oh no.
He's an idiot.
Oh yeah.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about
It
it.
has nothing to do with the fact that we have like 31 subscribers.
37 or 8.
Indefinitely. Oh my god, these kids probably not gonna play for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
They might not
and
play for A&M again.
I would bet they're not going
This is
to.
one of them is their second suspension of the year.
You should have your scholarship revoked. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, Rob, you got. So that's what happens when that NIL money's
You
driving
pay for
recruiting.
players.
Yeah.
Guys, we're averaging like 4.5 views per video.
Hey, it's better than 0. And even though 4 of them are me, the other half I don't know.
Hey, here's the positive on that, guys. We have more viewers on average than we have actual hosts on the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's positive.
Hey, think about this. We have more.
I think Mathis is going to be doing his first editing of the year.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some editing. Rob, we got a game going on right now, and I was wanting to watch. Now I gotta edit out your filthy mouth. All right.
Hey, I'm not filthy. I'm just saying the truth.
All right. Well, I gotta turn this off now so I know where to edit. All right. Thank you for watching, and we will be back with our Week 9 reactions on Monday. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching.